has a kid with another guy, doesn't tell their husband, and that by the time he figures it out, he has to pay child support for a kid that isn't even his, and it's totally legal.
It's Blue. Make sure you like and subscribe and go follow me on Patreon. It's only $5 a month and you get an extra video every week.
That's why I didn't like that movie, The Titanic. You know what I hate about that movie? Every girl I meet thinks that movie's romantic. Like, my God, that was so romantic, don't you think? No! No, I don't. It was a horror film.
Today I'm going to be doing a reaction to Bill Burr. It's from his podcast and it's called Bill Burr versus Crazy Feminist.
Let's get to the complaints this week, everybody. Some lady just absolutely lost her mind, hates my guts now, and won't listen to this podcast anymore. And I apologize to her, but she says she's not listening anymore. There's no way that she's listening, despite that she wrote like a 5-page email that I'm now going to read. She has a huge problem with me, everybody. So settle in. Want me to wait? You want to go down to the break room, go get yourself a little coffee cake? I can wait. I'm on vacation. I got nothing better to do. Go ahead. I'll wait.
I love his attitude.
Dog's been farting all day today. I don't know what its deal is, and it keeps looking at me like, dude, you got to help me out. And I keep going to take it outside, and then it just sniffs the grass. Oh, and then I bring it back in, it starts farting again, and it keeps looking at me like, dude, I'm really trying not to shit on your rug. I mean, that's how I'm reading her face.
It's my dog every day.
Saying. I have no idea. So anyways, here we go. Subject, your podcast is hate speech. Oh, Jesus. Bill, you probably won't read this. Or if you do, you will just dismiss me as a stupid whore. But no matter. Oh. See, right there, she's already draped herself in the I'm brave and I'm going to plow ahead flag. Your podcast, as of late, has morphed into hate speech. You used to be funny, and I could brush off your hateful comments with a cringe and a shrug. Now, wait a minute. So if they were hateful right along, why would you... Okay, let's just pause.
Exactly.
But now you've gone too far for me. To feature a segment on your podcast devoted to the deplorable behavior of women is intolerable. For those of you new to my podcast, I've been doing this segment, which I think is hilarious and needs to be done, just to get you caught up before this lady gives me both barrels here, because believe me, she does. There's a bunch of shows out there that shine a light on men who beat their women. Those pieces of shit, right? Trying to stop them from that behavior. There's a bunch of shows out there that will talk about how, who are these guys, to say what a woman could do with their body. They'll talk about the glass ceiling, the old boys network, and all that type of stuff, and they shine a light on all of that. Okay? Which they should, because that is guys doing things that they should not be doing that is not fair to women. Okay? But my problem is not that they do that. My problem is that they never shine a light on shit that women do that is not fair to men. So recently, if I can drape myself in some sort of brave flag, I've been reading these stories about guys who are married. Their wife goes out, cheats on them, has unprotected sex, has a kid with another guy, doesn't tell their husband, and that by the time he figures it out, he has to pay child support for a kid that isn't even his, and it's totally legal. And then I had the audacity to say that a woman who would do that to her husband is a cunt. Evidently, that's hateful speech towards all women, according to this person. All right? Because she continued.
Okay, few things. If you're super offended by this, that says a lot about you, doesn't it? I mean, he's speaking on a woman who did something very specific and called her, I'm going to say the C word. And you take that as an offensive thing to all women. I feel like it's probably deeper than that, since it was a 5-page email. I really, really like Bill Burr. If you're new to this channel, you don't know that. But I do really like Bill Burr. He's really comfortable, especially since this is a little bit of a different take than I think even what you normally see. He's already really comfortable and natural on stage, but he literally sounds like he's just at his house and he's like, go get a coffee break. He's probably sitting on his couch, like leaning back. I mean, he's talking about his dog who has like a gas problem. So he's obviously really comfortable, and I actually like that.
And how does she ever continue? To feature a segment on your podcast devoted to the deplorable behavior of women is intolerable. How is that any different than someone spending 20 minutes a week on a different podcast featuring the deplorable behavior of black people? Why do they always go to black people? That's just like calling me the N-word. This is no different than slavery. That's people in other groups always do that. Always do that, all right? Give me a goddamn break. All right?
It's really
she goes, women are, how is that different? How is what I'm doing any different by featuring a segment of women who are doing something absolutely reprehensible to men? How is that any different than a show that focuses on men doing anything reprehensible to women? When they show wife beaters, I don't look at that like, oh my God, they're saying I'm doing it too. I think, you know something? I really think you're being really selfish here. And the fact that you could sit here and listen to my podcast for this long as I've gone off on fat people. Jesus Christ, you want to talk about hate speech? How much shit have I talked about Peyton Manning, despite the fact I can't even throw a football? You know? If he sent me an email, I would understand. And I bet it wouldn't even be as crazy as this. She says, women are treated like second-class citizens all over the world. When did I ever say they weren't? And even still in this country. Yet you have no problem inciting further hate and disgust towards your fellow human beings on this earth. How am I inciting hate? When shows show wife beaters, is that inciting hatred towards men? If you look at those shows and that makes you hate all men, then you're a moron. So basically what you're saying is that I'm a moron and that all my listeners are morons. That if I call a woman who cheats on her husband, has a baby with another guy, and makes her husband pay for that, if I call her a cunt, that means I'm calling all women cunt? You know, is that what you're saying? Are you saying we're all that stupid? She said, right now there are men, and that is written in capital letters, M-E-N, men, in this country still, capital S-T-I-L-L, discussing whether or not women should have the right to contraception and abortions. Yeah, I understand that. And those people freak me out. Those people freak me out, and I am a guy. And I've never said that a woman shouldn't have a right to that. So I don't know what you're talking about. This has nothing to do. I'm talking about these whores that cheat on their husbands.
I'm going to rewind that part just to get it in again. Burr is pointing out that just because he spoke on one specific type of situation with one specific woman who did something kind of terrible doesn't mean he's saying randomly that women don't deserve contraception or all these other rights. It's being completely blown out of proportion as if he's like some women hater and he's inciting violence on them or something just because he said about one situation, oh yeah, that female's awful. That was a terrible thing that she did.
This has nothing to do. I'm talking about these whores that cheat on their husbands. Man, you know what I love about all this? How come you don't address what I talked about? How come I can't hear, what do you think about a woman who would do something like that? I saw a stat the other day that said 13% of kids in this country are not with their biological father. Meaning not just that their wife got divorced and then remarried. They mean there's a guy either knows or doesn't know. The woman had a kid with somebody else while they were married. 13% of kids. That means 80% of women are on the up and up. All right? God bless them. They're angels. But that 13% needs to be taken to task. How many guys are beating women? I would guess it'd probably be right around that same, maybe a little higher. I have no idea. Let's say it's 20. Let's say 20% of guys beat their women. Should they not be called out and be called cowardly pieces of shit? And if you call them cowardly pieces of shit, would I have a right to sit there and look at that and be like, well, that's now you're inciting further hate and disgust toward all men? You're being really selfish here, man, because I go off on everybody. This podcast is over the top and it's crazy. I call guys cunts on this podcast, and you're being really selfish right now. And now you make this big long speech, and then you're going to take your ball and go home. Look at this. Look at all she's bringing up here. Women still earn only 70 cents for every dollar a man earns.
Oh my gosh.
I think you guys should make the same amount. But I also don't think that number is accurate. $77. 77 cents for every dollar that a man earns. Because if you include divorce settlements, you get to keep your 77 cents plus his 50%, his 50 cents. So then he's down to 50, and then you're up to $1.37.
Math.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Go fuck yourself, you oversensitive jack. Good Lord. Go buy a bigger bra. I don't know what your fucking problem is. I hope that bugged you too, that I said that. That was deliberately supposed to be offensive. All right, so go write a letter to cunthair.com because I don't give a shit. All right? In short, we are still not equal to our male counterparts, and we will forever be labeled the weaker sex. Well, with that attitude, of course you will. You know? I don't think you're the weaker sex. I think that that's all a myth. I think that that actually makes you stronger. You know? Because guys are fucking idiots, and they think because they can do more push-ups than their woman that they're actually, you know, that makes them smarter. You know? I don't know. Fuck, doorbell's ringing. Are you serious? Hang on a second. I gotta go up here, and then I gotta read the rest of this. Hold on. All right, so I'm back. Little winded, but I'm back. So anyways,
He sounds
blah, blah,
winded.
blah, blah, blah. It just keeps going on and on and on and on.
I bet that was
where the
only
hell
one
is it?
page.
Where the hell was I? Weaker sex, and then she tries to break me down psychologically, but my mom not hugging me.
Did she really?
If that's the case, then I'm sorry for you. I hate when people do that. It's like, you're not sorry for me. You hate me right now, okay? So stop acting like you're really sorry for me and you're showing some sort of empathy. You're not showing empathy. You're being really selfish.
Exactly.
Like I said, I go off on everything here. I've never said that a woman should make the same amount an hour as a guy.
So
I never
random.
said that a guy should be able to hit a woman. I've never said that. What the thing I'm trying to shine a light to is that some of these divorce settlements are absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
And that when a woman cheats on a guy and has a kid with another person, and the poor sap who married her has to pay for that, you don't think that's fucked up? Howard Stern just did a great story on it last week.
I find it really entertaining and completely agree with him on a lot of the things that he's pointing out, even like the little ones. It's very, very condescending when people will try to seem like they are comforting or like sympathetic towards you in some way when they're busy like degrading you and tearing you down and hating you. They're like, oh, well, I'm sorry if your like mother didn't love you and hug you enough. I actually feel sorry for you. Like they're bigger than you and they feel bad for you, so you're lower than them. It's like some weird complex thing that a lot of people will try to use, and it's just that really common overplayed step that he's kind of calling her out for. Like, no, you don't actually feel that way. It's just like this basic thing that you're doing that everybody else tries to do. And it doesn't mean anything. If anything, it's just a waste of a page and this essay that she wrote him and an email that doesn't mean anything.
Howard Stern just did a great story on it last week. Somebody sent me an email. He did a story about a guy who was in that situation and he refused to pay the child support, and they said, we're going to send you to jail. He's going to go to jail because his wife cheated on him, had unprotected sex. Hey, to hell with AIDS. Let's roll the dice with my husband's life, right? Has unprotected sex, has a kid. He doesn't realize it, figures it's his because it's his wife's pregnant. Why would he think that it's somebody else's? He starts making the payments. Next thing you know, he starts raising the kid, figures out it's not his kid, and has a natural reaction. I don't want to pay for that. And the law is just like, no, you have to pay for it. Let me ask you this, ma'am. Do you have any empathy for that? You seem to have all this empathy for women and women's issues. And like somehow I'm supposed to still respect you, despite the fact that you could give a if there's injustices done on the other side. It doesn't make any sense. And I want to see, this is like focusing on this issue. This is an issue for some reason that is just not talked about whatsoever. It's just sort of accepted. And I think it's absolutely deplorable. I think it's deplorable. So I have the right to talk about it. You know what I mean? And if you want to get offended and you want to be selfish and just be like, well, that isn't fair. What if I had a whole segment every week and all I did was talk about wife beaters? You know what? You'd probably send me an email. I just want you to tell you, I love your podcast even more. It is just, you are a hero to hear a man out there just letting these cowardly pieces of shit know that you'd be fucking over the moon about it. But now all of a sudden, I'm talking about women who are doing shit that you're not even doing. At what point in any of these stupid fucking rants that I've done have I ever said that all women are doing this? I never have. I never said that all women cheat on their husbands and have a kid out of wedlock. I didn't. All right? Do I make generalizations? Absolutely. It's a comedy. I paint with a broad brush. I'm fucking around, okay? Jesus Christ. Stop being so goddamn selfish, okay? And if you don't want to listen to my podcast, don't listen to my podcast anymore. And other than that, go fuck yourself.
I'll be the new subscriber listener to his podcast and replacement of her. I mean, I really think Bill Burr is going to be fine losing one person, but I also like that he addressed it, not because he's super offended, but because also sometimes people aren't necessarily, I'm sure he's not bothered by losing her as like a fan. It's, I think, just the audacity. How could you think this way? It's so confusing. And I get that everybody has like sides and viewpoints, but really, let me just touch base on the actual topic. The fact that a woman can because let's all be real, a man's probably not going to get away with that. Like, that just doesn't work that way. A woman knows if it's her child or not. That's how biology. So the fact that a woman can have a child and make a man who isn't the father of that child pay for that child, that's just crazy to me. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it other than that's obviously just not right. I mean, if you're going to go out there and do that, not wear protection, do that to a person and cheat on them, which you shouldn't do, that's already wrong in itself, and then get a kid out of it, the least you could do is make the actual father pay for the kid. That's like the bare minimum of decency you could scrape up to do. Like, I wouldn't even say it's the right thing, but I'm just like, how are you going to misstep in every direction and then final misstep make somebody who's not even the father of that baby pay for it? So anyways, that's what it was about. And of course he's going to speak about the injustice of that, because that's wrong. He'd speak about the injustice of a woman being maybe forced to have a child, or a woman being hit by her husband, the same way he's speaking about, in this one situation, a woman doing something terrible to a man, because obviously it happens both ways. I mean, there are women out there hitting men too. So it's just crazy that people could get so offended. I guess it would be more so feminist would be the label for it, but not all feminists. So I don't really want to use labels personally, but that people could be so offended on only one side of things and not see that there are injustices all around. But I really like how Bill Burr handled it. He explained himself really well, super fair. It probably sounds biased because I'm going to agree with everything that he says, but I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast reaction. I don't listen to them very often, but if you did enjoy it, I'll probably listen to more in the future. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and go follow me on Instagram and TikTok and my Patreon, and I'll see you next time.